guess here, but I'm so glad you're here. And I think I need to flip my screen here. And let's fix that. And okay, cool. So welcome. I am here to answer your questions and talk about hormone testing and all the things that we do. So I'm so glad you're here. And if you have any specific questions, I do want to say that when we do these lives, that we have a 60% off special, and that you can get your testing if you use the code. Thank you so much. And I usually have a little code on there, but we had a little issue. And so yesterday we had to reload the app. So it's a little bit crazy today. So I'm a little discombobulated, and it's been a clinic day. So, but anyway, when we run these lives, we have the code FLASH50. So if you've ever wanted to get your hormones tested and someone's told you that you don't need testing or that it's not a thing, that's absolutely not true. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. And, one of the things I always say is that why would you not test something if you were going to treat something? And it's kind of like not having a thyroid. Would you ever say that you don't need thyroid testing? Would you ever say that you're just going to use the lowest amount possible? That would be just absolutely ridiculous. So if you would like to get your hormones checked, we have a kit. It's a home kit. It is a saliva kit. And all you do is go to hormonebliss.com. And I normally have that posted up there, but it is hormonebliss.com. And if you have any trouble, you can always click on my picture up there and you can go to the link. And it's normally $129. So yeah, so to get the kit for only $50, you have to put in the code FLASH50 so you can get your testing. And what this is it's a saliva kit. So when you get it, all you do is you put your saliva in the little tube, and then there's a test requisition, and you just fill out the test requisition. And there's a lot of symptoms that women don't realize are related to perimenopause or menopause or hormone imbalances. Things like frozen shoulder or hip pain. They call it trochanteric bursitis. So if you've been told, oh, we don't know what caused that, or arthritis or fibromyalgia, or if you're having the traditional night sweats and hot flashes, incontinence, headaches, vaginal dryness, your hair is changing, you're losing hair, sugar cravings, tender breast, heart palpitations. That's a big thing. A lot of people don't know. Can't hear. Okay, let me see what's going on. Let's see. Can you hear me okay now? I don't know what's going on there. My moderator is my wonderful fiance, and I will let him. I'm good. Okay, good. Awesome. Yes, you can hear. Yes, awesome. Okay, so yeah, so if you would like to get testing, there are over 30 symptoms that women don't realize are a part of menopause or perimenopause. And so on these 30 symptoms on the test requisition, oh, thank you, Jackie. Hi, Sherry. That is on this test requisition. It is rated 0 through 3. So you actually rate it how severe your symptoms are, because almost every woman who listens to these videos or you're live on here is like, oh, that's me. You're talking to me. I just did a little video a while ago and talking about this movement and this mission that women are suffering, and it has to stop. And it starts with you guys saying, hey, there's this crazy doctor on TikTok talking about hormones and how women are suffering and what we can do and what the options are. So I love that. And that begins with you sharing these videos, sharing this information. And here's a cool thing too. If you click on my picture up there and it takes you to my main page where all my videos are, there in the middle of where my bio is, you can click on that. Not crazy helpful. You can click on my bio, which has a little yellow finger pointing, and then there's a link there. And I have lots of free download information that you can click on. And I have everything about hormones and why my doctor said I can't take them. So lots of information. I'm all about educating. Medically induced menopause from pelvic radiation. I'm 39 and I feel awful most of the time. Okay, so Eden Marie, there are so many options for you. And a lot of doctors don't talk about bioidentical hormones. Synthetic hormones can be concerning for sure, but bioidentical hormones are very, very different. And I have a lot of oncologists here in town, cancer doctors here in town, who are very supportive of being able to treat women with bioidentical hormones because they realize that it's very different. This narrative that's out there, oh, there's some weird filter thing on there. Sorry. This narrative that is out there is pretty much saying that all hormones cause cancer. And that's just simply not true. And they're keeping that narrative alive, and we trust our doctors, and you should. Doctors are smart and they know a lot, and I never say anything about shouldn't listen to them, but women are suffering, and most doctors know so little about menopause and how to actually treat menopause that it gets really, really frustrating for women because they have these 30 symptoms. And you go to a doctor with 30 symptoms, they're going to be like, lady, you're crazy. Here's your antidepressant. Here's your pain medicine. Here's your sleeping medicine. And so we run into that all the time. And when we're like, I just feel like nobody will help me. So if you feel like that and you've been told that testing isn't necessary, and again, I always say it's like, if you were diabetic, would they tell you not to check your sugar or your insulin levels? And that's insulin's a hormone. If you didn't have a thyroid, would they tell you not to check your thyroid? So it absolutely does not make sense that you wouldn't test. And even after menopause, when you're absolutely flatlined, I love this little diagram here. So this is your hormone levels when you're in your 30s or 40s. And this is your hormone levels after menopause, because your ovaries literally dry up. You have no more eggs, and then you have no ovarian hormones. So most doctors would say we don't need to test because your ovaries aren't functioning anymore. They're not making hormones. But why wouldn't you want a baseline? Why wouldn't you want to know that for sure? Because your adrenal glands can make some hormones. Your liver makes hormones. Your fat cells make hormones. So it just makes sense that you would test just to see where you're at baseline. Because then when you start some bioidentical hormones, then you know what is working and what's not working, or what's absorbing, or how, whatever the form is of hormones that you are going to select. So one of the things that we do that I'm so passionate about in this movement of helping women not suffer is that once we get the testing, then we make a plan to get you on bioidentical hormones. So that is the exciting part, and stop the suffering. So it's not just about testing. And the price of the test is actually less expensive than what the lab charges us. So at $50, and you can't go anywhere on the internet, I can pretty much promise you. And our lab that we use say that we sell more test kits than anybody because we do them below the price of what they charge us. So most of the hormone testing that you can get out there is $300-400. So like, it's crazy that we're doing it at $50. And the only reason we're doing it is because we want to help you get on bioidenticals, and that's the way we lower the barrier to entry. And for people who are skeptical and they're like, I don't know if this is a thing, we want to make sure that you feel comfortable with it. And we usually spend $60 when we go out to a nice dinner. So like $50 is less than that. How do you know if you could feel better than we do on HRT dose we're on? Okay, so start with testing and we'll know, and you can always feel better. So if you're not feeling good, I've had so many women say, HRT didn't work for me. Well, that's because it wasn't dosed right, because it always works. It always works, because once you don't have ovaries anymore, this is a model of ovaries and uterus. Once they're gone, whether it's a medically induced hysterectomy or oophorectomy, which is the ovaries, or whether you have gone through natural menopause about the age of 50, it's gone. You're not making those hormones anymore. So it always works, because if you replace what your body once had, which is what bioidenticals are, it's all about the balance. And that's what we are so passionate about, because we want to get that balance right for women. So starting with the testing is really important. So if you go to hormonebliss.com, that's bliss, hormone bliss, or you can click on my picture up there and it'll take you to my main page, and there's a link in my bio, and you can order a test kit. And when it comes to you, looks like this. You just put your saliva in the tube. You fill out the requisition, whether you've had hysterectomy, or you still have periods, or you still have ovaries, or if you are currently on any form of HRT or bioidentical HRT. You put that on here, and then you score the symptoms. So there's over 30 symptoms. And again, it's rated 0 through 3, so we know the severity. And there is an algorithm. Remember when we used to take those tests that were fill in the blank, fill in the little circle, the automated exams? So we have that. So you fill that out, and there's an algorithm that puts all that together and puts all your symptoms in a really cool graph, because we don't treat numbers, we treat people. So if we know what that is and we can bulk that, because a lot of women don't even think about the symptoms that they're having, because we as women, we're so used to multitasking, taking care of everybody else. We don't take care of ourselves. And we don't even stop to think that that is a symptom that has come up since perimenopause or during menopause. We don't even think about that. So we absolutely want to make sure that we are aware that these 30 plus symptoms are actually menopause. Okay, Jean, so you go to Hormone Bliss, and I'm so sorry, I usually have it up there where you can see it, but it's Hormone Bliss, BLISS.com. And you put in the code FLASH50. My moderator just put that there. So it's all one string, FLASH50. And you do that checkout. So let's say it's $129, but when you get to checkout, if you put in FLASH50, it's only $50. Hi, I did my testing. How? I'm not sure what that question was. Sorry, I didn't see the whole question. And Shireen says, can this help Hashimoto's? Absolutely. And we do have psychic, spiritualist, anxiety occur. Yes. And we do have testing for thyroid as well. Once you balance your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, which is what we test for in the simple ovary hormone test kit. Once you balance that, the number one cause of thyroid dysfunction is ovarian hormone imbalance. So once you fix that, usually the thyroid comes online, and we have so many women. I've been in practice almost 25 years. My goal is to get women off thyroid instead of doctors just saying you're always going to be on this thyroid medicine. Estrogen also helps regulate your gut, and leaky gut dysfunction is what causes autoimmune like Hashimoto's. So really important to get that estrogen balance. So that helps the gut and that helps everything. Came back low progesterone. So yeah, we got to get your progesterone levels up. So that's really important. Heather said, I had a hysterectomy and I've been on estradiol patches for years. I cannot take progesterone. So the thing with progesterone is it balances out the estrogen. So I'd have to ask why you can't take progesterone. Did you not tolerate it, or did they not get the dose right, or did they just tell you that you don't need it? Because that's simply not true if they told you that. So you'll have to fill me in a little bit about you can't take progesterone. Heather, but I feel way off. What could you offer me? So we do bioidentical hormones. So as soon as you do the test kit, it comes and you put your saliva in the tube. And when you put your saliva in the tube and fill out the test requisition, there's a mailer, and you put the whole thing in this little plastic bag, and then you put the UPS mailer on it, send it in, and then we get the results. We can dose bioidentical hormone creams for you. Email about your order. Okay, yes, please follow up on that email. Order my kit. Yay, Babs, I love it. I love it. I love it. That's so awesome. I always feel like an angel gets its wings when a woman orders a test kit, because you finally accepted that someone can help and that there is testing available and that there are bioidentical hormones available. And a lot of women don't know the difference. A lot of doctors don't know the difference in bioidentical hormones, or they'll say it's just a marketing term. And that is so not true, because synthetic hormones are like the difference between a strawberry and a strawberry candy with natural hormones. Get my progesterone and the creams arrive. Oh, your bestie Tony sent you here. I'm so glad. That's so awesome. Can I test with you but have prescription filled out through my insurance? So we have made this plan because, in my medical practice for years, we've never taken insurance, because insurance game, they want you sick. They want you on their meds. And so we just don't play in that sandbox, but we keep it really affordable. And a lot of times if you do the testing, it's going to be out of your deductible, or they'll say they're not going to pay for bioidenticals. And so what we do is when we do the testing, our program is built around a subscription plan where you actually get the creams from us. So not only are they dosed, but you have your creams dosed through us and you get them. So it's super, super affordable. And people are always like, well, how much is it? And I will tell you that it's less expensive than what most of my patients in the clinic pay for their prescriptions at the pharmacy when they do bioidentical compounded creams. Pay monthly. Can we pay bill weekly instead? So we do monthly just to keep it simple and make it easier for everybody, because our systems, if we do it weekly, things just get lost. So we do a monthly and 30-day. And then it's like any other subscription, when you pay for a year in advance or pay annually, you get it for less too. Is 90 estrogen for 42 female a good range? That was taken day 25 of my cycle. Okay, day 25. Day 25 would put you in your luteal phase. So that's not a horrible estrogen, because estrogen is starting to decline in your luteal phase. But if you're on here and you're thinking, I don't feel good, let us check in your luteal phase the saliva, because hi from Texas, because the saliva testing tells us what's actually in your tissues, and the blood can fluctuate. So one of the nice things about knowing what's actually happening in the tissues is we can also look at the ratio of your estrogen to progesterone, because they balance each other out. And so if you have a wide gap between your estrogen and progesterone, then we can dose estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, take care of your testosterone levels, all those things, and we can get it balanced a little bit better. So that helps us kind of know what's going on too. And we look at your symptoms and put that all together, and we listen to you. So part of our program is not where you just write a prescription for bioidentical hormones. We actually work with you to get it right and to get it balanced. So I love it. You guys are ordering kits. That make me so happy. Decide to cancel. Yes, we have a cancellation plan, cancellation policy. So absolutely. But I will tell you, if you really are committed and you will work with us, because every woman's different, and some women get right out of the gate, feel better the first day. So, and everybody's different. So, oh, thank you, Coconut. That's so sweet. But every woman's different. So, I would commit to this, because people always ask me, how long are you going to be on hormones? And I always say, until we figure out a way to regrow ovaries. So this is a commitment for life, and we want to make it super affordable for people. So that's so sweet. Thank you for the gift. Try and talk my husband too. Yes. Your husband probably wants you to feel better and probably wants to get your libido back. So a lot of the husbands of, people in our program send us thank you notes. Over my 25 years, I've gotten so many thank you notes. So, okay. Well, just tell them that, you can just try it and see how it goes. There's, you don't have to do a year program. So appointment with endocrinologist coming up to address this. Not sure BHRT is offered. It's so sad, because endocrinologists are supposed to be hormone doctors, but most of the time, all they do is treat thyroid disorders or put you on thyroid meds until you have to be on thyroid meds the rest of your life. And they don't really look at the other hormone imbalance. They don't look at the whole picture. And it's so sad. And I say they, because I've worked with endocrinologists for almost more than 25 years. I was Candy Striper when I was 16 in the hospital when I was a kid. And I've worked with doctors my whole life, and I know what this system looks like. And I was trying to figure out the other day, somewhere between 12 and 15, probably OBGYNs who are patients of mine, who I actually manage their perimenopause and menopause hormones, and and some of those are nurse practitioners. They're not all OBGYN physicians, but that kind of tells you that these are supposed to be hormone doctors. I mean, they're supposed to be women's doctors. And yeah, I know it's kind of crazy. And that's what we run into. And it's so sad, because the doctor who actually did my hysterectomy, I don't know, 15 years ago, showed up to my office probably about 3 years ago to manage his wife's menopause. It's a whole specialty. And it's like, you would not go to a cardiologist if you need brain surgery. I mean, it's a whole specialty in itself, because doctors really don't get training in med school and residency, even in OBGYN residency, about menopause. It's all pharmacology. It's all synthetic hormones. And then maybe you get a sleeping pill or birth control, which is synthetic hormones. But there's really none of this nuance of what bioidentical hormones are and what can be offered. So if you are in that point where either you're on hormones or you know that you need to be, because you're probably here listening to this, if you want to get tested, we have a really awesome special, and we run these when we do these flash lives. And I actually put something out about we were doing this live today, so people would be notified. But when we do these pop-in lives, usually the code FLASH50, when you go to hormonebliss.com, you can put in that code, and the test kit is only $50. We check your estrogen, your progesterone, and your testosterone. And when we do that, then we can make a plan to dose your bioidentical hormones. Order later, honor the Flash 50. So yeah, Katrina. So yeah, absolutely. So I love that because you'd be on the live and then do it later. We usually keep the code at least about an hour after the lives. And then sometimes if our team forgets to turn it off, it'll be a little bit longer. So yeah, absolutely. Please do that, Katrina. That's awesome. Okay, so we check for estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, and it's just a simple saliva kit. And people are like, is saliva, is that a real thing? It absolutely is. It's very stable. And the cool thing about that is we are worldwide with this. So you can be anywhere. So if you have a sister in Venezuela, you can tell her that she can do this. But it's super stable. It can sit in the mail. When we do blood in our office, we have to get it out the same day, and it has to be transported to the lab at least overnight, or has to be kept cold. So when you put this in the saliva in here, it's very stable, and it measures what's in the tissue. So it's very, very accurate. Some studies even show that it's more accurate than the blood for dosing hormones because it is very stable, and it shows us what's actually in the tissues and not what's bound up to proteins in the blood. So you have hormones that are free and unbound. So just picked up my first estradiol, but pharmacist said it's synthetic. I thought it was bioidentical. So I'm not sure. You might put in, was it estradiol? Because if it's estradiol, it is bioidentical. But if it's ethinyl estradiol, then it is synthetic. So if you can get that and type in the chat exactly what it says on there. Protocol after testing. Okay, so once you get the testing, so you do the saliva, you send it in, you do your test requisition, you send it through UPS, they get the results, they contact us, and it takes about 10 days for that whole process, UPS to the lab, and then we reach out to you. Then we make a plan, we contact you, and then they're all my protocols. So it's not me straight up, but I do get on a live call with you every month. So you do get access to me. But the protocols are everything that I've done over the last 25 years. So according to those protocols, your labs, your symptoms, and just listening to you, just talking to you and hearing what's going on with you, because sometimes people don't really realize all the symptoms that they put in, and they don't, like, as you're talking to someone, you're like, oh, and that too. Oh, and that too. And so that's just a real beautiful thing when somebody says, oh, okay. And then the protocols that we write are based on that. Met with Jess today on my lab results. So thankful. Oh, good, Sherry. Oh my gosh. So this whole journey from the point of ordering the test kit and finding this crazy Dr. Tammy on a live is so exciting to me, because it just means that we've saved another woman's life, and we're on that journey to help her, you, to get your life back. And that is so exciting to me. Label just says estradiol 0.5 milligrams. So without actually seeing it, that is probably bioidentical. However, you need progesterone to go with that. And doctors will tell you if you've had a hysterectomy that you don't need progesterone. And that is simply not true. It's like saying you have shoes, you don't need socks. The ovaries make lots of hormones. Oh, Tony, good. Thank you. Make lots of hormones. Testosterone, DHEA. So that estradiol is not enough to cover all the hormones that your ovaries make. If you want to feel like you're 30, just about yourself. Oh, good, good. Relief to understand why my energy is tanked. Yeah, sure isn't. I know. And so when doctors are like, oh, you don't need testing, or you don't need hormones, you're just getting older, or especially in perimenopause, they'll tell you you don't need hormones. And it's like, why would you wait till your ovaries are complete toast? Tim take progesterone at bedtime. Should I take them together at night? Yes, progesterone is awesome for sleep. So you can take everything at night. I'm not used to zero energy, ex-athlete. Yeah, so once your hormones start getting depleted, it can be awful. And I call it lead butt, like you've got lead in your butt. Because without estrogen, you don't have lubrication in your joints, you don't have energy. The serotonin stimulated by estrogen in both the gut and the brain. And so you feel blah, you don't have any motivation. And I think of motivation very different than energy. I mean, you can have energy, but no motivation. You can be like, I'm not tired. I just don't want to go anywhere. I just don't want to do anything. And I hear that from women all the time. Women can put up with hot flashes and night sweats, but they won't put up with not being able to enjoy life. And they won't put up with weight gain. And that's something they don't talk about. After menopause, the only hormone that your body has for estrogen is a storage estrogen called estrone, not estradiol, but estrone. And I've seen women gain anywhere from 5 to 15 pounds a year, not managing hormones and doing hormone replacement therapy because that estrone is so problematic. What if you're a smoker or vape? So, of course, I'm not going to say that's healthy, but I think sugar is actually more dangerous than any kind of nicotine products. But I know a lot of the talk around blood clots and things with smokers. This does not apply to bioidentical hormones. And especially if you're doing, because bioidentical means the same as your body's hormones, your ovarian hormones, not synthetic, made from petrochemicals, like the Rockefellers would want you to buy their oil products and then make synthetic hormones from it. I know it's crazy. But with bioidenticals, and if you bypass the liver, meaning if you take an oral birth control by mouth, it goes through the liver for its metabolism. And when that happens, your liver also makes your clotting factors. If you are a smoker taking an oral hormone, yes, it could be dangerous. But bioidentical topicals, no problem with that. And, people would be like, oh, she's crazy. Why is she saying that? And I've had people like get on here and say, you don't know what you're talking about. And there are so many studies to support that. If anybody wants those studies, I can get them for you because I'm a total nerd that way. I feel defeated because when I take progesterone, I feel so depressed and crazy. What are my options? Well, get tested so that we can see what your levels actually are, because if your estrogen to progesterone ratio, they have to be balanced. So there's a term called estrogen dominance, and that doesn't mean that you have too much estrogen. It just means that your estrogen to progesterone ratio, when you do the calculations on that, and there's a cool calculator called an Omni calculator. If you want to look that up, you can put your estrogen progesterone levels in there. If you can get somebody to test you, which we will, but you can put your levels in there and see the ratios. Because yes, if you take too much progesterone, it helps with sleep. But if you have too much, you'll be sleepy all the time. Oh, thank you for the rose. That's so sweet. But it can make you really puffy and achy and overtired. And yeah, so it's got to be the right balance. So testing is really important. And that's another argument for doing testing, because why would you tell a woman, just here's your dose, like commercial pharmacies do? You just throw a dose at somebody and then expect them to be okay. And every woman's different. So testing is so important. What does it mean when you have high thyroid antibodies? Would this be high for someone that has endometriosis? Is that what you meant, Leslie? So what she's talking about, high thyroid antibodies, when your immune system that normally fights viruses and bacteria, when your immune system gets confused, it starts attacking its own tissues. So when that happens, it can attack your own thyroid. It can attack your ovaries and PCOS. It can affect your joints and rheumatoid arthritis. So when that happens, now you make antibodies, which normally fight viruses and bacteria. You make them against your own tissues, and thyroid is very, very common. All of that starts in the gut, and estrogen regulates the gut biome or the bacteria, and estrogen regulates the gut motility. So if you have any kind of gut disturbance and you have estrogen deficiency, that's going to affect the thyroid. And thyroid hormone, your thyroid makes something called T4 that gets converted to the active form T3 in your liver. Estrogen also converts in your liver. So I see all the time women with hormone imbalances have thyroid dysfunction. And that's the number one cause of thyroid dysfunction is estrogen imbalance. Got tested by my doctor and she said I wasn't in menopause yet. I haven't had a cycle in over a year. So what you're probably talking about, oh, you guys are ordering kits. I love it. What you're probably talking about is a hormone called an FSH that tells about your ovarian reserve. And that might not have tanked just yet. But I would say the definition of menopause is a year without periods. So highly recommend you get tested. So if you guys are interested, we have a saliva test. If your doctor won't test you, it is for estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, the three main hormones that your ovaries make. This is uterus and ovaries, the three main hormones that your ovaries make. And then once we get the results, we can recommend a dosage for bioidentical hormones for you. And that is such a life-changing and a life-saving route to go because bioidenticals are completely different than synthetic hormones. So if you want to get tested, when we do these flash lives, if you go to hormonebliss.com, or you can click on my picture up there and it'll take you to my main page with all my videos. And there's a link in the middle where my bio is talking about how I change lives and save women. If you click on that, it'll take you to a link that has order a test kit. So you can go there. But make sure that you put in the code FLASH50, all one thing. Sometimes people leave a space in there and then it won't work. So FLASH50, and it makes it only $50. Normally the test kit's $129, so make sure you put that code in there and it makes it only $50. So my high thyroid antibodies could be the reason I'm struggling to conceive on top of my endometriosis, I'm assuming. We have a fertility program coming out. So yeah, absolutely. It absolutely is. And I recommend highly that you get tested because we have an all natural fertility program. How does the test kit work? So when you order it, you go to Hormone Bliss, BLISS, bliss.com, or you can go to my link up there. And it's a saliva kit. So it tests for estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So you put your saliva in this tube, you fill out the test requisition. If you have ovaries, don't have ovaries, uterus, no, anything that's going on. If you're on hormones right now, if you're on bioidenticals and they're not working for you, and you put that on, fertility program, waiting for it. Yes, I'm so excited about that. And actually we do have it now. It's just we don't have the kit because I'm like, this is so cool because we're going to put the natural progesterone in there, the methylfolate. So yeah, so if you direct message me, we'll get you on the list for pre-orders for that. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, so the test. So you put your saliva in here and then you put it in back in the box, pretty pink box. Put it in there, you put it in the mailer, you slap your little UPS label on it, and it's free shipping to the lab. So when we get that, it takes about 10 days for us to get the results back. Once we get the results back, we contact you, and then we can make a plan to dose your bioidentical hormones. So that's really what we do. And we do the test for only $50, which is cheaper than the lab charges us. We do that because we want women to actually see what's going on. And there was somebody just commented a minute ago. I was like, I couldn't believe my hormone levels were so low. And it really just makes you feel like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. I don't just need a sleeping pill. My progesterone's low. I don't need these medications for my aches and pains, these Celebrex and the anti-inflammatories. I need progesterone. And progesterone is an anti-inflammatory. So these things like frozen shoulder and hip pain and all the things that women have that they're going to their doctors and they're being misdiagnosed, and it's menopause. It's crazy. So yeah. So if you want to order a test kit, that's the way it works. You just go to hormonebliss.com and make sure you put the code in FLASH50. Yay, Tony, I'm so excited for you too, honey. It's so awesome. Yeah, if you ever have any questions or need anything, Tony, just direct message me. But the girls are great and they're always available for you too. So I'm so excited. So she's talking about the program. So she went through the test kit, got her results, and now we've made a plan for bioidentical hormones for her. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is, well, let me just say the word doctor in Latin means to teach. Docere means to teach. I'm very passionate about helping women understand what's actually going on in their bodies, because once you do, you have your power, you have your autonomy, and no one will ever tell you anything that is not exact science, that is not relative to you, and you will know the difference in how you feel. And so if they're telling you things like that, or they're like, just you're getting older, or here's a sleeping pill, when you feel better, when you do this, you will understand that, yeah, and you don't even care. And even, I would say, even if the only thing that was available to me was synthetic hormones, and I didn't have a choice for anything, I would do something. I would take synthetic hormones, but you don't have to. We have bioidenticals, but I don't care, because life's not worth feeling like that. And even if I took the risk of, having cancer, anything that they're saying, I wouldn't care. I just want to feel better. So it's about quality or quantity. I don't know. You just have to weigh that out. But bioidenticals are extremely safe. Somebody asked about the email. So the email is info@hormonebliss.com. So it's just info@hormonebliss.com. So I don't know if that helps. Girl, it's me too. I love that. I love that. So yeah, so this is, I love this graph, and I love to just show that when you have hormones in your 30s, this is like in your 30s, and then once your ovaries dry up, this is what we're dealing with. So when they say hormone replacement therapy, we're not kidding. You have no ovarian hormones anymore. Have a question. I think I'm perimenopause, but can rash and hives be a part of this? Absolutely, 100%. One of the things when the hormones start to, in perimenopause, when the hormones start to drop off the cliff before your ovaries dry up, one of the things that can happen is because your hormones can be challenged as they're getting converted into their active forms. Challenge, that's the term. They don't convert as well through the liver. The liver processes toxins. So if you're not processing your toxins, and your liver's, you've had a few birthdays on this planet, and your liver's not as healthy as when you were in your 30s, then what can start to happen is your serotonin and your histamines can get out of balance. So some of that can just be a histamine response with the rashes. Thyroid also can cause rashes and all sorts of weird skin problems. And progesterone is your body's natural anti-inflammatory. So if you have, instead of taking an antihistamine, why don't you just deal with the inflammation that's causing that, which is usually a progesterone deficiency. Genetically, will our daughters have same levels? So yeah, Sherry, the genetics of how the liver metabolizes things, if you direct message me, actually, I think it's in my link in my bio. I have a book called The Methyl Solution, and I talk about that very thing. So you get a copy of your genes, one from your mom and one from your dad. So you have a 50-50 chance. So she might, but I'm always about testing. We do have genetic testing on our website too. So if you want to look at some of those things, you can. Appointment to an allergist. So I would say that's great, and you can check for allergies, but get to the underlying cause. And also, leaky gut's a big thing. So we have food sensitivity testing on our site too. So if you get to the root of where your immune system is triggered first, remove those foods. It can take care of environmental allergies. Okay, so after you order the test kit, it goes, you put it in the mailer, little UPS mailer, the whole thing, put it all in this big bag. And then you put it in UPS, take it to UPS, drop it off. And then it takes about 10 days to get the results. And when we get the results, we reach out to you, and then we make an appointment to talk to you, listen to you, hear your symptoms. And we also take the algorithm that takes all of your symptoms and it puts it into a graph for us, and it gives us a picture of what's going on. Then we look at the levels too, and then we put it into all my protocols that I've developed over almost 25 years in clinical practice. We figured up one day, and this was like a couple years ago, that I've seen over 30,000 patients. So this is not something I just came up with last week. This is something that I'm very passionate about. And being a woman who's had every problem, endometriosis, infertility, I had a massive fibroid tumor, I had ovarian cyst rupture, I had infertility for 13 years, hysterectomy, ovarian tumor, you name it, I understand. So that's why I do this. That's why I'm so passionate. So yeah, so after I just went on a tangent there. But after you do the test, about 10 days, it comes back. We make an appointment with you, go over your results, and then we dose your bioidentical hormone creams. I know, right? That's kind of crazy. So yeah, I've almost 25 years. And we went in, we actually looked through my practice software, and we're like, doing the math of it, how many people we do. And my goal is, it's kind of like, and I love chiropractors, don't get me wrong, but those chiropractors who want you just keep coming back, I don't believe in that. I'm like, let's give a woman her power, and then let's teach you how to do this. And so, yeah, I want you to stay with me, but if something happens and you can or whatever, I want you to have your power. Gain 50 pounds. So yeah, that's a big thing. And women find that they're not doing anything different. They're not eating any different. They're not exercising any different. But after you go through this transition, your ovaries dry up and you have no ovarian hormones anymore. That's what keeps you young. When you're in your 30s, you can exercise more and eat less and it works. But when you have no hormones anymore, that doesn't work because estrogen stimulates your metabolism. And estrogen stimulates something called GLP in the gut. And you've probably heard GLPs because that's what all these weight loss shots are. The Ozempic, the Mounjaro, those are GLPs. So I always know we do have them in our office, don't get me wrong, because they're hormones. But if you don't have estrogen, you're not going to stimulate your body's own natural GLP. So I always say once you get on estrogen, you can stop the weight gain from happening. So I would never, never, never put a woman on a weight loss injection if we don't get her estrogen balanced, because as soon as you stop, the weight's going to come back on. And the only estrogen that you make after your ovaries dry up and go away, after you stop having periods, is a storage estrogen that stores fat. And it sits in the fat and it causes all sorts of problems. So it's a lot of different factors that go into the weight gain, but yeah, so there's that. Oh, you guys are ordering kits. I love it. It's like an angel gets its wings. I seriously almost cry every time one of you guys orders a kit, because I know that that's just one more person that is going to get their life back. And it's not only life changing, but it's life saving, because when you are in this phase, when you're in 50s and 60s, that's when all the disease processes happen because you're out of hormones. Can you stop estradiol, begin bioidenticals safely? Absolutely, you can. If you're on an oral form of estrogen, sometimes there's a little bit more of a transition because your liver is used to that. And it's so sporadic and erratic how your liver metabolizes estrogen orally. So, yeah, if you're on the estrogen patch, no big deal. Usually transition does fine. But we can work with you to help you through that process, because sometimes we'll have to cut the dose if it's an oral estrogen, as we're kind of bringing up the bioidentical hormones. So, but that's easy to do. But you can go cold turkey. Just some women have a little more trouble with it. So we just ask you to be patient with us while we work through that with you. What helps get rid of major sugar cravings? So absolutely got to get your estrogen balanced, because that's on here on the test requisition is sugar cravings, because estrogen regulates your insulin levels, which makes you crave sugar. So how do you order the test? So you go to hormonebliss.com. So BLISS, bliss, like happy bliss. That's what we want to do. So go to hormonebliss.com, and hang on, before you do that, there is a code FLASH50, all one string, FLASH 50. And it makes the testing only $50. So it's a saliva kit. You just put your saliva in here, we get the results, and then we can dose your bioidentical hormones. So the code is FLASH50, and it's only $50. She said she wouldn't do that because it's dangerous. So doctors who say things like that just are not aware about bioidentical hormones. They're completely different than synthetic hormones. So you have to get outside the box. You have to do your research. You have to listen to crazy doctors on TikTok like me and do your research. And I always say, don't trust me. Do your research and listen to your gut, your God-given discernment. If you don't feel good and some doctor is telling you you don't need testing, you don't need hormones, they're dangerous, they cause cancer, look where the cancer happens. Now, cancer does happen when you're in your 30s, but most of the cancers and the hip fractures and the dementia, this happens when you have no hormones. So, yeah, I thought it was good to get hormones regulated. Absolutely, you want to get your hormones regulated. Let's see. It's dangerous not to balance. Yeah, my fiance, he's been on this journey with me through TikTok because I always thought TikTok was just for kids and cat videos and stuff. But there are so many wonderful women, 35, 40, menopausal age, and it's like you guys are hungry and you're looking for information. And I have so many women say, I was praying. I mean, literally, they've said, I was on my knees praying for answers and for help. And it was a God thing that I found you. So if that's on TikTok, I'm all for it. I love it. Yeah, it's dangerous not to balance. But I was going to say, so my fiance, he's my moderator. And so after this, I think it's going on 6 months now, almost alive, almost every day. He's like, he knows more than most doctors know about menopause and hormones. I feel awful. I've had excessive bloating and discomfort on my left side for quite a while. So I would never, discourage you from getting, medical workup. I'm not, saying don't do that. So ultrasound, whatever needs to happen. Over 50 females. Yeah, I love it. So absolutely get that worked out. But if you don't feel good and you want to get your hormone levels checked and get on some bioidentical hormones, if you are suffering gas, bloating, discomfort, we also have a lot of other things that we offer. The food sensitivity testing and getting on a plan to clean up the gut. So a lot of that bloating can absolutely be helped. Methylation, taking methylfolate, things like that, digestive enzymes. So we have so much that we can offer to help you as far as supplements go too. How long after you get the info back can we get set up for an appointment to get the hormones? It's pretty quick. So once the lab processes things, it takes about 10 days. Once you ship it, the whole process 10 to 14 days when you drop it off at UPS. So, whatever time it takes in transit. And then immediately we are hiring more staff. We have our next person starting on Monday. So we are keeping up as fast as we can, but our ladies stay really busy. I'm doing the consultations and getting you guys on hormones. So we try to go as fast as we can. We have women sometimes like, can you overnight my hormones to me? And so it's like, we had one girl, I don't know if she's on here right now, but the postal service tore up her package and she had waited so long. She was so excited and her creams were missing out of the package. And it just looks like someone had ripped it in half and all the stuff was missing. We send you a book, we send you some supplements, we send you your creams. And she was just in tears. So anyway, we took care of that. And the post office puts a letter on it that says, stuff happens. We strive to be really efficient, but then they send a little letter like that on there. But anyway, that stuff happens. But I do understand the urgency. I'm buying a kit right now. I want my hormones. Like, can we just skip the line and just get on some hormones? But we want to make sure it's done right. We want to make sure that it's dosed right. Because if it's not, then you become one of those women that go out there and say, that didn't work for me. And I always say 100% of the time, if you're willing to stay the course with us, it always works. And we guarantee it. Now, won't always work the first time. And I don't guarantee that you might not have some symptoms that are moving around, because once you start moving hormones, now you can have a period, your uterus could bleed, whatever can happen. But we work through it and we get it balanced. And that's why we do testing, because that tells us what's going on in your body. So I put my head down on my pillow at night knowing that I've helped a crap ton of women that day get their lives back. So super passionate about that. And I'm here to answer your questions, guys. So feel free to put them in the chat. I love that. Share information if you're in our program now. I love those testimonials because it helps the other women in the room see how valuable it is. And I know there are so many women who are suffering. On our test requisition, when you order a test kit, there's over 30 symptoms on here. And that's just the main things that women struggle with. That's not even the weird things like the neuropathy and the burning mouth and the weird smells, and you smell weird and like things are changing. You're like, what the heck? I never smelled like that before. And the dogs are like sniffing at you. Like, you're like, what the heck? Just the weirdest things. Feet itching, rashes, eczema, like dry skin, hair falling out. Just there's some really weird things that can happen. Dry eyes, cavities. Had a lady the other day who was just crying because she wanted her hormones sent to her overnight. She said her teeth were falling out. And you lose gum because estrogen actually helps build bone and collagen. And that's why old women start to sag like that, because they don't have the bone structure to keep the skin up on the face. So yeah, and if you have dry mouth, and the bacteria can overgrow and then you can get cavities. So it's very devastating to women to be having to suffer and not get help. Let's see. Maria said, if someone would get on hormones after they have been diagnosed with osteoporosis, will it help? Absolutely, 100%. I just had a patient in clinic today who told me that she had her bone scan a year ago. They told her osteoporosis. She is completely normal in her bones. And they were like, what are you doing different? And she was like, I'm on bioidentical hormones. And it's just, I see it all the time. Vitamin D is very important too, because vitamin D helps put calcium in the bone. So, and we have her on vitamin D. So a combination between estrogen and vitamin D. Hi, Carol. Haven't seen you in a minute, honey. I'm so glad you're here. So yeah, so absolutely. Because what happens is, think about this. This is a graph I like to use. So this is your age. This is when you're in your 30s, and this is when you're 60 and beyond, all the way to the grave. So what happens is, these are your hormone levels when you're younger, in your 30s, your fertile years. And then when your ovaries dry up, you have no hormones. This is why we call it hormone replacement therapy. And this is hormone depletion. This is ovarian failure, literally ovarian failure. This is where the hip fractures happen. 30-year-olds don't break their hips. And here's the deal. Most of the time when elderly women break their hips, we think, this is, okay, track with me. We think that they fall and break their hip, but actually the bone is so fragile that the bone literally collapses and breaks, and they fall. And of course, it makes all those shattering and stuff much worse. But that's what we're dealing with. I love this analogy, and I love to share this, that once your ovaries stop producing, once you run out of eggs, it stops producing hormones. And that's what menopause is. Once you don't have any ovarian hormones, now there's no influence to make the uterus bleed. You stop having periods, but you stop having periods because you don't have any hormones. Mother's hip shattered when she fell. Absolutely. Yeah. My mom broke one hip twice and the other hip, and it actually is what took her out of the game. I mean, most women over the age of 65 don't recover, don't last a year after a hip fracture. So it's a really big deal. Oh, Heather, good. I'm so glad. So yeah, so after menopause, I think of this like an ovary, these little Easter eggs, or my son's jelly beans. When you're 30s, you're down to about half the eggs. You're born with all the eggs you're ever going to have. And this build on. And once you are over the age of 50 and you run out of eggs, this is just an empty shell. This is an ovary that's completely empty. And it just dries up and it shrivels and it just goes away. And on an ultrasound on a woman, 10 to 15 years out from menopause, the radiologist will actually read the ultrasound as ovaries not detected. They don't function anymore. They have retired. They're gone. They failed. They're over. They're dead. And now you have no hormones. So this is where all the disease processes happen. So Bobby said, will I ever feel normal and energetic again? 100%. I promise you, promise you, promise you. If you will stay the course with us and get the testing and get on the hormones, it is our 100% guarantee that you will get your life back. Now, I won't tell you to be the first day, but we will get you sleeping better with the progesterone, and we will get your energy back. You could have some other things going on, but we will always work with you and get you feeling better. Carol says yes. Carol's one of our greatest success stories. I love it. So yeah, I always love it when people are in here and they can attest to what we do. So yeah, so it all starts with getting testing. And I know they're going to kick me off here in a little bit because the platform. Oh, you guys are ordering test kits too. So I get these warnings, you're running out of time. And then I get all these angels getting their wings. Because I always say when someone orders a test kit, I know that that is the first step to them getting their lives back. And we literally promise that you'll feel like you're in your 30s instead of in your 60s and 70s, because that's when you feel your best. And that's where we have to get that balance back. So if you want to order a test kit, oh, and it's Mother's Day. So if you have a mother, my mama passed away about 6 years ago. So, but if you still have your mama and she's struggling, you're never too old. We have women in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. So don't let them tell you you're ever too old for hormones. That's just stupid. Mild plaque psoriasis, and I'm so over it. So psoriasis is an autoimmune condition. Estrogen. Oh, Carol said I have energy all day now. I love it, Carol. Thank you for sharing that. So if you guys like hear Carol, I mean, she's one of our testimonials. I love it. So psoriasis is, if you guys don't know about psoriasis, it's an autoimmune condition where you get this itchy, scaly plaque stuff on, usually it's on your joint spaces. Yeah, and rheumatoid arthritis, it's autoimmune too. One of the things is that estrogen regulates your immune system. Progesterone is an anti-inflammatory. So, and estrogen regulates your gut, where most of your autoimmune stuff starts from. So, Sherry said, how long after you got your creams did you feel great? Yeah, Carol, how fast was it for you, honey? If you can put that in the chat, you're still with us. Sherry wants to know. Usually people feel better within the first day or two. You start sleeping right away. If you have other things going on, thyroid conditions and things, or you need to lose weight, working with you over time, but most people feel good within the first week. Now, sometimes we have to move the pieces around. I think like those plastic puzzles, you know, where there's the 9 squares in it and you're moving one up and then you're moving one over. And so we move those pieces around. So sometimes you're like, oh, I feel better, but my heart's racing a little bit because I got too much estrogen. Or I'm not sleeping well, so we increase the progesterone. And just moving those pieces, low libido, so we need to work with your testosterone. If estrogen regulates your immune system, why do people get sick when they take estrogen birth control? Okay. So, oh, good, sure. I'm so glad. So, birth control is synthetic hormones. And we know that things like plastic water bottles that have chemicals like PCBs are endocrine disruptors, which disrupt your hormones, including your insulin, including your thyroid, not just your female hormones. And birth control is a synthetic hormone that comes from oil-based products, from petrochemicals, natural gas. I'm not even kidding. They figured out that they could sell oil products because when they did the chemistry, it kind of looks like a steroid hormone. So synthetic birth control affects the immune system because it disrupts everything and it causes inflammation. And we know that synthetic hormones cause cancer because they're endocrine disruptors. And we know these chemicals in our environment cause cancer. So completely different. Yay, Sherry, I'm so glad. Genuine questions. Buying water bottles, such a scam. I know. Oh my gosh. If you go back, I'll probably get my hand slapped. I actually got in trouble yesterday. I was afraid I was going to get shadow banned. But yeah, if you go back and look at the Nestle story, like Nestle chocolate, that's all I'm going to say. I got sick for 2 days after taking estrogen birth control. Oh, I know, because it's literally like putting PCBs or plastic water bottle juice in your body. So yeah. Oh, they're saying I'm running out of time. Hang on just a second. Which of the objects is orange and round? And they just showed me 2 basketballs. So, okay. So yeah, microplastics and water bottles. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so they're saying that my time is almost up. So if you guys want to get your hormones balanced or you want to replace the hormones you don't have, cream should be here this week. I can't wait. Yay, Jackie, I'm so glad. Carol, yes, I'm so glad to see you today. Yes, we use bioidentical hormones, which are completely different than synthetic. And we go through the topical route. So we bypass the liver so you don't have issues that you have when you feel sick. Oh, you're so welcome, Sherry. So you don't have issues with synthetic birth control because women say that all the time. I couldn't tolerate. I tried when I first got married taking synthetic birth control and it was awful. I just felt sick and nauseated. So we use bioidentical hormone creams because we are, I'm not even saying nationwide, we're actually worldwide. I didn't even realize that. So the creams are the absolute safest and they get into the tissues. And so keep forgetting to do it in the morning. Yes, you have to do it in the morning. Yes, Linda. But the patch is a little bit, you can't really change the dose on that. And I say that all the time with women. So we can't adjust it. The creams are so nice because they get right into the tissues, but you can adjust them. So when we dose the bioidentical hormone creams, we can work with you and say, okay, you need a little more or a little less. So, and the patches, I have so many women that have problems with that because now summer is coming and there's, the stickiness gets when you sweat or you get in the pool or the hot tub. So the creams are awesome. So I know they're going to kick me off. Oh, hi, Doreen. I'm so glad to see you. So they're going to kick me off here because my time is up. But yes, have a wonderful night. Yes, you too, Jackie. But if you want to order a test kit, you just go to hormonebliss.com, and you can also go to my picture up there and where it says 25,000 likes. Thank you, hearts. I love it. Just go there. You can click that. And when you see all my videos, and please go watch the videos and learn as much as you can. But there is a link there. There's a little emoji. It's like a little yellow finger that's pointing down. There's a link there, and you click on that. It'll take you to Linktree. There's also products that I have, collagen products, all the things that I'm passionate about. Because I was like, people are going to buy that anyway, so might as well make sure it's the good stuff. So I have that there. But lots of downloads, information, watch my videos. But there is a link, and you can order a test kit. And we do have cortisol testing, and that is on our website, Shop Hormone Bliss. So not just Hormone Bliss, but Shop Hormone Bliss. We have the cortisol test now. And we have thyroid testing as well, and food sensitivities and genetics and all the things. So it's exciting. But if you want a test kit, we check for estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And wait, before you go order, I want to tell you how to get it for only $50. So when you go to hormonebliss.com, if you put in the code FLASH50, and my moderator will put that in the chat there, FLASH50, FLASH 50, the test kit for your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, your main ovarian hormones, is only $50. And that is cheaper, less expensive, I should say, than a nice meal out. So we go get, dinner at Olive Garden at $60, $70. So $50 is just really inexpensive. And these tests, if you do saliva testing on the internet, they're $300, $400. Or you can go to your doctor and they're like, it's like $1,200 after your deductible, because they're like, that's not medically necessary, which is ridiculous because it is medically necessary. But anyway, so $50. It's you have to use the code FLASH50 though. Only have one vial. Does it test all three? So yeah, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, you only need one vial for that. But if you do the serial cortisol testing throughout the day, and that's a different test, it'll come with 3. And we just started taking, because people were confused and they were filling up all 3 tubes. So we just put the 1 tube in there, but that's good. Okay, the website is hormonebliss, BLISS.com, or you can click on my picture up there and it'll take you to my main page and my bio where I talk about saving women's lives. And you can click on that link and it'll take you there as well. So it is hormonebliss.com, and my moderator, wonderful fiance, we'll put that in the chat, Hormone Bliss. And the code is FLASH50, and it makes it only $50 because it will say on there that it's normally $129. So you definitely want to do that. Once you order the test kit, you just put your saliva in the tube. You fill out the test requisition. There's over 30 different symptoms on here: frozen shoulder, hip pain, losing collagen in your face. You feel like you're getting older, weight gain, and you're not doing anything different. Linda said 12-hour fast before. Yeah, you just don't want food in your mouth when you're doing the saliva kit, because actually they have to process the food out of your saliva. So yeah, 12 hours is good. But yeah, you put on here on the requisition if you've had a hysterectomy or you have ovaries. If you are currently on hormones, put what you're on. If you're on supplements like yam cream or something like that, put that on there so that we'll know that when we get your results. And you don't have to stop anything. You just have to let us know so that we can take that into account. Vaginal dryness, low libido. Does your husband or your significant other wonder if you love them anymore because you're like, no, I don't think so. That can be a testosterone deficiency, vaginal dryness, mood changes, fibromyalgia. All these things are misdiagnosed, and it's menopause. And it's so easy to get on bioidentical hormones and fix it. Hearing loss. They're like, oh, you're just getting older when you can't hear. Estrogen stimulates the nerves and the blood vessels that feed the inner ear. So dizziness, ringing in the ears, incontinence, waking up in the night to urinate, and then there's always the hot flashes and night sweats, but puffy eyes, puffy face, rapid heart rate, urge incontinence, when that means you just feel like when you gotta pee, you gotta go. ADD, a lot of people don't talk about that. So the coupon code is FLASH50, FLASH 50, and that makes it only $50. And again, that is less expensive than the lab actually charges us to run the test. And the reason we want to do that is we want to lower that barrier of entry because people don't know that this is a real thing. So it's like, we don't want to charge you $300 and have you go, oh, I'm not sure about this. This seems really weird. We want to work with you so that it's an inexpensive way for you to find out that you're not crazy and that all of this is a thing. Can you talk about cost of initial and follow-up visits? So we do sell the lubricant. Yes, Linda. If you go to Shop Hormone Bliss, we have the vaginal cream now that's on the site. So the cost of the program, so the consultation, once you get your lab results, is included in the $50. So it's not like you do it and then we're like, oh, you got to pay $300 to talk to somebody. That's included in the $50. And then through our protocols, we will dose your bioidentical hormones, and we have different plans. So I always say, I'm not trying to be evasive, but depending on if you need a lot of support and you want us to help you get everything regulated, the range can be depending on if you pay month to month or if you pay in full for a year. It's like a subscription. So if you pay annually, of course, you get a discount. So it can range anywhere from $150, $149 to $249. So it's a wide range, but we work with everybody. So we want to make sure that it's affordable, because who's going to do it if it's not affordable? And we're talking about a lifetime commitment, because until they can figure out a way for us to regrow hormones, this is a commitment. All three hormones you usually need to have tested. Yes. So estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, those are your main hormones that your ovaries make or made. And once your ovaries dry up, it literally is like these little jelly beans. This is your ovaries now, and they're not making any hormones. So estrogen, progesterone, testosterone are the main ones, but we can also test other hormones like DHEA and pregnenolone, and estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone are the main ones though. So it really helps us get a handle on where your baseline is so that when we treat, we know what we're treating. And then sometimes we get a little sophisticated and we can do pregnenolone and other hormones as well. Or we also have options for supplements that can help as well. But there's not enough supplements to deal with hormone replacement therapy that most women need. So, hey, Constantina. Hi, honey. So, yes. So go order a test kit. The code is FLASH50. Bought test last night. I worked night shift. Yay. When do I take the test? As soon as you get it, honey. Put it by your bedside, usually about 4 hours. Don't eat for about 4 hours, and then you just put your saliva in. So anytime. If you're still having periods and they're regular, we usually want you to do it after ovulation. But if your periods are irregular, you're not having periods, it can be anytime. Okay, so I'm going to get off here because I know they're going to kick me off anyway. But I love you all very much. And please have a wonderful evening. Oh, and Natalie, it doesn't matter what time, but usually people do it in the morning just because you haven't eaten. So thank you, Constantina. That's so sweet. So it doesn't really matter what time, but you want about 4 hours from eating. How do you take the test? So you order a test. So you go to hormonebliss.com. And when you get the test, it'll come in. It'll come with a tube, depending on what test you order. But if it's just the main estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, you put your saliva in the tube. You put it back in the box. You put it in the mailer. You drop it off at UPS, and it's free shipping back to UPS. And then the consultation is free. When we talked included, it's free. It's part of that $50. And then once you do that, it takes about 10 days to get the results. Then we contact you. We look at everything. We don't treat numbers. We treat people. And when we look at that, we have a conversation with you. And then we can dose your bioidenticals and get them right out to you. And part of our subscription plan, it includes the creams. It includes a monthly Zoom call with me. And it's a group call. So we all get on there and support each other, the sisterhood. Constantina is part of the sisterhood. And it includes education. It includes you're working with us to get all of this right. And I'm always That's why I put my head on my pillow at night and smile and know that I've done a good thing because we've saved some women's lives, not just changed them, but saved them too. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to direct message me. And again, the code is FLASH50. If you go to hormonebliss.com, the kit is only $50. So, I mean, that's a crazy deal. And it is Mother's Day. And, we celebrate our sisters and other women that we know who are mothers. So, what a cool gift to give them that could not only be life changing, but life saving. And, other gifts, flowers, they'll be gone, cards, chocolates. I do love some chocolates, but they'll be gone. This is forever. And this is the gift of health, but it's the gift of feeling better because, the word health, whatever, you just want to feel normal. You want to have energy. You want to feel like you're in your 30s again. And that is completely doable. So, okay. I love you very much. Please have a wonderful evening. And we do these pop ins. So if you push the follow button whenever I go live, you'll get notified too. And the Flash 50 code is usually live for at least about an hour afterwards. So if you want to go make sure you feel comfortable and that this is something that resonates with you, the discernment that God's saying, hey, this is for you, then it should be live for a little bit after. So, okay, you guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks for hanging out with me. Most women don't know that they have options when it comes to HRT. There's something called BHRT. It's completely different as hormone therapy because it's bioidentical, meaning it's the same thing that your ovaries make or once made. So BHRT is a safe alternative option for hormone therapy. It's not only life-changing, but it's life-saving because most of the disease processes that you get are exponentially increased after the age of 50 when our ovaries don't work and aren't making hormones anymore. So women need to know that this is an option. Most women don't know that they have options when it comes to HRT. There's something called BHRT. It's completely different as hormone therapy because it's bioidentical, meaning it's the same thing that your ovaries make or once made. So BHRT is a safe alternative option for hormone therapy. It's not only life-changing, but it's life-saving because most of the disease processes that you get are exponentially increased after the age of 50 when our ovaries don't work and aren't making hormones anymore. So women need to know that this is an option. Most women don't know that they have options when it comes to HRT. There's something called BHRT. It's completely different as hormone therapy because it's bioidentical, meaning it's the same thing that your ovaries make or once made. So BHRT is a safe alternative option for hormone therapy. It's not only life-changing, but it's life-saving because most of the disease processes that you get are exponentially increased after the age of 50 when our ovaries don't work and aren't making hormones anymore. So women need to know that this is an option. Most women don't know that they have options.
Bob.
Hi, Monkey.
Hey, I was got a little bit of update for you.
Okay.
So I tried to go up to their office
Uh-huh.
and talk to them, and they I kind of got the same answer. I'm shit out of luck. I missed the deadline, and I'm sorry. That's on me.
Well,
We can still go to the graduation if you want. I have a couple of the kids in class graduating, and I'd like to see them before I, start my job.
okay. Well, your dad's all the way already planned the trip, so we could still go to dinner and
Yeah.
whatever you want to do. Do you care if I call them tomorrow?
I'm gonna call my dad.
I mean, do you care if I call the school tomorrow?
No, go ahead.
Okay. But you do get your diploma, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you have a cap and gown?
No.